Hello, Frank here. Going to talk about the Worth 400 race at Texas Motor Speedway that concluded a little bit ago. It was a pretty good race. It played out a little calmer than I was expecting, considering with this track surface and one and two and the bumps in turn four. I thought for sure it was going to be more chaotic, but it seems like they were getting a better handle of it today. But with that said, there was some chaos, just enough chaos, and around the early part of stage two, um, for for it to shake the running order. You had an all-spire front row. You had Carson Hocevar and Daniel Suarez starting in the front row. I figured they wouldn't stay there for long. I was surprised that Carson was as good as he was. He was tight. I heard at some point in time during the race that he was tight. So, but ultimately, he still manages to get the top 7 out of it. So that's pretty good momentum for winning Talladega last week. So, you had about 5 cautions for cause during the entire race, and you had 2 stage cautions. It's less than what it was last year and less than the average at Texas. But considering the mile and a halfs and the every track that's not Talladega, Atlanta or Daytona, it was probably one of the highest caution spree races of the season so far. The first big change, of the race was in lap 69 when Todd Gilliland lost control of his car coming off of turn 4. And it looked like he was going to be fine, but he just clips Christopher Bell's right rear of the car, caused him to do a half spin. He got it, he overcorrected it, and ended up just enough for it to pancake the wall, which ultimately damages both tires. Probably broke his toe link, and ultimately took him out of the race. He ends up with a 38th place finish after 68 complete laps. It looked like he had one of the cars to beat today. In that first stage, looked like it was the trio of, all 4 of them really. All 4 Joe Gibbs cars looked like they had cars to beat all race, along with Denny Hamlin leading the pack, with Christopher Bell being the second best. But once the field jumbled up after the stage 1 finish, it changed the race for the most part for the rest of the race, because Stage 1 winner was Eric Jones, his first one of the year. It's a good job by him. They played strategy and capitalized on some of that caution earlier in the race. During those pit stops for the stage break, I noticed that at this point the tires were going to matter in this race, which is good because tire wear is very important. And as this track ages, it's going to become more and more important. Then after that, at lap 93, William Byron loses it in turn 4, goes through the grass, but is able to survive without damage. So good on him. And then during that caution, that's when all hell just broke loose of this race and changed it for the rest of the race. Because during those pit stops, Joe Logano ends up clobbering Cole Custer, who stopped and who slowed down to let Ty Gibbs out, ends up taking Joe Logano's car completely out of the race and ruined Cole Custer's race. It's not like he was going to win. He was finished top 20 or anything anyway. It just killed any chance he had to get a top 30 finish. Not only that, you had Larson going into pits as Chase Briscoe's leaving, and they made contact, although not severe, but it was enough to hinder Briscoe's race a little bit. And the least affected incident of the pit road was Denny Hamlin getting blocked a little bit by Connor Zilic. Just he was leaving as Connor was coming in, cost him a few spots, but ultimately it wasn't that bad. And then this is when we started getting cautions quite a bit, because lap 102 you had Ty Gibbs, who got hit by Ryan Preece and then just clobbers the wall and eventually ends up taking him behind the wall. He gets a DNF out of the race. You had 4 total DNFs in the race. And then a few laps later, you had Kyle Larson, who just lost it in turns 1 and 2, which is unusual because all the action's been off of turn 4. And he backs into the fence, and he went behind the wall for a while to do repairs. After that, the whole entire field is just jumbled with pit strategy and 2 tires, no tires, 4 tires, staying out. Just by that point, the whole entire top 10 was just cattywampus, just all over the place. After that, the race calmed down for a while, and then the last caution in the race was after stage 3 with 10 laps to go, roughly 10 laps to go, when Corey Heim backed into the fence and just took him out of the race, which is a shame because he shows how much talent he has, and the simple fact that he's not full-time anywhere is a crime. I mean, I know sponsors is the key, but it's a crime that he doesn't have a full-time ride somewhere, because he's got far too much talent to just be wasted in part-time rides because of sponsorship and whatever. I would not be surprised after this performance if someone tries to snag him for next year, unless 2311 can work up a deal to keep him in-house. It just depends on how desperate Corey Heim wants to be full-time. Also proves the fact that skipping the O'Reilly series and going from truck straight to cup seems to be a better move, because had he been in O'Reilly, he probably would have knocked it out. He would have done well because the change there is not dramatic enough to really do much harm. But it's from O'Reilly to cup. It seems to be a large troubling spot, because it takes them roughly about 90-plus races before they get their first win and start showing some signs of life. But Corey Heim technically has not ran a full season in cup. And he's already shown a lot of speed. Ultimately, he was on a different he was on a different fuel strategy all race long, which allowed him to get the lead. Yeah, he's only raced in 3 seasons in cup for a total of 10 starts, and 1 top 10 in that, and which was last year. He could have had one today if strategy played out differently, but he's got about 9 more races left for this year, so it's by far the most he's gotten. And if he gets more sponsorship, heck, I wouldn't be surprised if they add a couple of races there. Ultimately, I'd give this race about a 7 out of 10. It was a pretty good race. I enjoyed it. Let's talk about the Kyle Busch and John Hunter Nemechek situation. Kyle Busch seems like to me he was trying to clear himself high on the straightaway and ran John Hunter out of space. And Kyle Busch, being Kyle Busch, got mad about it and threw away a top 10 run that he was on. Would have been his second top 10 of the year, and decides to take out John Hunter and ruins his day. Ultimately, I don't know if NASCAR will do anything about it. They've done stuff before about this. I think he should get a points penalty, but it's all up in NASCAR's hands whether they're going to do something, especially with Steve O'Donnell now being the CEO. It's hard to tell if he'll be more lax about it, or he might be more, hey, that's taking it too far. We'll see. We'll see Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, if he's going to get anything out of it. Pretty good race. I enjoyed it. It's not as chaotic as O'Reilly Series was, and it was about in the same ballpark as Truck Series, although all their problems was on the second half of their race. Chase Elliott gets his second win of the season, so that's good there. He's only the second multi-time winner of the season, and I do believe Chevrolet is starting to figure this car out, because in the top 10 you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. Could have been 6, but you had 5 cars in the top 10 that was all Chevrolet. But granted, 2 of the 4 cars out of the race was Toyota. So I think Chevrolet's starting to figure it out as they get more and more acquainted to it. I expect Toyota to fall back to the mean a little bit and start contending with Chevrolets more. And this might be when Kyle Larson's and others starts getting more and more wins and better finishes. Speaking of Kyle Larson, they did not have the right setup for the race today. They were not in the track like they wanted, ultimately, because and he ended up crashing, damaging his car. So he's probably going to struggle to get a top 20 finish. That would have been probably the ceiling of his race today, was probably a top 20 finish. ultimately, I said in my quick view that Hamlin was going to eat about 15 points off of Tyler Reddick. I was incorrect. He only gained 1 point on him, so instead of being 110 back, he's 109 back. But Chase Elliott was the big gainer. He gained a lot more points than I thought, so he must have earned far more stage points than I thought than Tyler Reddick. Because Chase is now third in points, 117 back. Those two, Chase and Hamlin, are real close together. They're 8 spots from each other, 8 points from each other, and they're almost 2 full races behind Reddick. They're kind of like on their own little island right now. You got Ryan Blaney, who's on his little island, 155 back. And you got Chris Buescher, 181 back in 5th. And you got Carson Hocevar, who moves up 2 more spots in 6th. So he's putting some good runs together. Let's see if he can keep that up, because he's got a good, strong top 10 finish. And you got Ty Gibbs, Kyle Larson, Brad Keselowski, and William Byron rounding out the top 10. Falling out of the top 16 was Joey Logano after DNFing. Now Chase Briscoe is currently in the chase, but essentially, the way I see it, the way things are playing out, unless Blaney and team starts performing better, it's going to be the regular season championship is going to be between Reddick, Hamlin, and Elliott at this point. And unless Reddick starts showing signs of vulnerability, it's going to be his to lose, because he can honestly not show up next week, or at least run one lap, park it, and still have a nearly full race points lead over second place. He's got some cushion to warrant a couple mediocre finishes or a bad finish and a mediocre finish before he can even remotely lose it. Next race, they're going on to Watkins Glen. I expect Denny Hamlin to run poorly. He's not very good in these road courses. Chase Elliott's going to probably make some ground, but Reddick is also good at road courses. Chris Buescher's good there, so he might make up some ground. Ty Gibbs is good there. He's been dynamite. Larson's good. So we're going to probably see some more shuffling, and then after that, it's going to be into the grits and glamour of early summer, late spring, where this is where you get their separations, where like the poor drivers are inconsistent enough to run for a championship, settles into the area that they're probably going to be at. And you got your championship contenders are really going to start really distancing themselves from the rest, which so far appears to be 3.5. I give half to Blaney because he's not quite full. He's about more than half the race behind Chase Elliott. So comment below what you like. And oh, by the way, I'm up to 27 subscribers, so that's good there. I gained 1 today. I would like to get about 50. That's my first little goal. But I will see you on the next video.